Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Non-Player Characters. I am your host, Matthew Dixon, also the voice of Dane Lane and several other characters from the 3D NPCs mod. Go check that out. That is the network we work for, 3D NPC Podcast Network. And I'm joined by, as always, my wonderful co-host and secret lover, Mr. JT Decker.
Hello.
There he is once again saying hello, because he likes to do that, because I'm British and he likes to mock me. And he thinks it's
that's
funny,
my friend Sean
and it makes
Connery
me cry
impression.
every time.
Remember,
Oh yeah,
that's
your
Sean
friends.
Connery.
Well, don't start doing John Connery, because that just makes me want to go, David the Bushrack. Yep. So, it is currently the 30th of July 2014. I can tell the time and the date. It is a wonderful, warm, almost 9 o'clock over in Britain. How is it over there for you, Decker?
A little too warm for my taste in Arizona.
Yeah, well, Arizona's always warm. Although it gets really cold in the winter, doesn't it?
It depends on where you are.
Ah, right, fair enough then. Well, today we've actually got quite a interesting show for you guys. Today we've got a discussion on Kickstarter, the different payment methods, or lack of payment methods, in video games, and then we've got, for news, we've got discussions on the San Diego Comic-Con, the MLG player ban, Walking Dead Season 3, which I'm looking forward to talking to, and a Final Fantasy Batman, and then of course the question of the show, which I'm sure you guys are all very much looking forward to.
Oh, they're perky about it.
Yep, and get ready to comment down below with your responses, which I would quite like. So the first topic we've got today is Kickstarter. Potential meets reality. Sorry, I actually apologise. One thing we forgot to say, the game in the background is Divinity Original Sin.
Which is, in fact,
a Kickstarter project, hence the this being the prime discussion topic, or one of them. Kickstarter is something I've been into for a long time. I think I've Kickstarted now at this point 9, if not 10 projects. I will slowly pull that up as I continue to yammer on. It's something I really appreciate. I really like the idea of Kickstarter. Just simply the notion of taking the control out of a publisher's hands. Because Kickstarter has shown that the publishers or the big companies don't always know what the public wants. There are some amazing games that, and because obviously I'm a gamer, most of the stuff I've done is games, backed is games. There have been some amazing games that have come out that publishers might not have either wanted or done right. A prime example being Divinity Original Sin. Publishers probably would have said it's too hard, like just off the bat. Like they would have watched the first demo and been like, this game's too hard. Make it easier. Make it more, quote unquote, and here's the word we all love to say, love to freaking hate, accessible.
Ooh.
So yeah, I freaking love Kickstarter. It's amazing, and I'll very quickly count them for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 things I've Kickstarted. I have also Kickstarted 2 others that were cancelled. So
now on that topic there, this is kind of one of the negative slides of Kickstarters I've heard from people is, do you feel you've been rewarded for those?
Well, some of them iffy, most of them yes, because I don't always kickstart a lot of money towards them. One of the games, Distance, a next generation arcade racer, as it's called on Kickstarter, it's a spiritual sequel to Nitronic Rush, which was an amazing game. It's free to play. Go buy it now. Buy it? Go get it. Go download it. It's amazing.
I was going to say, how do you buy a free-to-play?
That was the third game I kickstarted, and I started kickstarting a long time ago, and I still haven't got anything from it. Because all I kickstarted was for the game. But it's been a really long time, and games take a while to develop, so I'm okay with that, but, you know, another game, Drifter, a space training game, I got the DRM-free digital copy, the soundtrack, and early access. I think that's good enough. I got early access. You can actually go watch me play that game on my channel. and see it develop a little. And it's a cool game, and I like it, so yes, I've been rewarded. I'm trying to look through the ones that I've got that I don't really think I've been rewarded well enough for. No, none of them really. No, I think all of them I've gotten. The highest one I ever kickstarted, or backed, I should say, is Awesomenauts Starstorm, the expansion to Awesomenauts. And the fact that Awesomenauts was doing this was controversial in itself, but we won't get into that because there's no need. But I backed $50 for that, which was about £30. So I don't usually back that much money into things.
Because that's a pretty hefty chunk and that's the thing, again, because I'm just trying to counter your positiveness with possible negativity.
Oh, yeah, that's the point of this topic.
But most people, when they're looking into a Kickstarter, they're thinking, like I said, am I going to be rewarded? You know, if I drop $50, am I really going to get that back from the game?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that's a judgment call. There are some people that waste their money on things. I feel that all the stuff I've backed, I have personally gotten my money back. And that's because I don't have a lot of disposable income, so I make my purchases count when it comes to Kickstarter.
Well, and that's the thing is, generally, you're only going to be backing something you'll probably personally find interesting to begin with.
And that's the point of Kickstarter, and that's the good thing. And we're not here to get into sort of the risks of backing something and, them taking your money and blah, blah, blah. Enough news stories have done that. Mm-hmm. What I want to talk about is, like I said, potential meets reality. And what that is no matter how involved you are, or how much of it you watch the game grow, the game doesn't always live up to your expectations or what you hoped for. And that's what this discussion is about, hence why we're playing Divinity Original Sin in the background. I was looking forward to that game so much. It was the fourth game I kickstarted. I backed it so long ago, and finally got to play it and was really excited. It probably only takes about 50 hours to complete. I still haven't completed it yet because I just haven't really had the motivation. It's a great game, I just haven't had the motivation. But a lot of what the Kickstarter promised isn't in there yet, is the thing.
Such as?
Such as more companions. Currently there are only 2 fleshed out companions. There's a difference between henchmen and companions. Companions have a backstory and a quest.
Henchmen are just there to be there.
Henchmen. The companions, one of the companions is amazing and I love her. She's called Medora. She's one of my favourite characters in video games now. She's so fun.
Interesting.
The other's kind of cool and, fun, and it's interesting, and they both have really cool backstories. But there's not a lot to them, and Larian promises more of those kind of characters and more fleshed out versions, and I think Medora's already pretty fleshed out, so seeing more than that would be really cool. But it's not in there yet, and the game in general is just kind of not what I expected. It is very Dungeon Siege-y, which is what I wanted, but at the same time, it is rock hard. Like, seriously, I had to put this game on easy mode. I literally couldn't do it on normal mode. I think I just picked wrong classes and didn't have a full party, but I couldn't do it. I'm going to redo it on normal mode, and me and Decker will probably be playing on normal mode.
Well, and that'll be my first playthrough, so I'm going to suck. But
it's a really hard game.
And that's the question that I don't know the full mechanics behind it. Is that based on mechanics, gear, what? Like, what made it hard to you?
The fact that there's 4 of you, and about 9 monsters, and 1 monster in 1 turn can usually do about half your health.
Nice.
And you can't heal just a straight up heal. All you can do is a turn by turn heal. So a small amount of health. You will most likely die a lot. And I think it is just a bit too much, in my opinion. Some people have apparently said that Divinity is too easy. So they're veterans.
Granted, they probably played through on easy.
Well, maybe. Some people have said that they want a higher difficulty mode on the forums. That's insane to me. I can't even do normal. Jesus. Easy, now that I am towards the end of the game, is really easy. I do just blitz through most monsters. But early game, normal was just impossible for me. But,
now,
like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you were saying there's content in the future, quote-unquote. I don't know anything about the developer. Is that probably going to happen?
Definitely.
the more fleshed out companions.
Is Larian is a great studio. The reason they went to Kickstarter for this is because they wanted to become independent.
Okay.
And they have done an amazing job. I don't think Divinity would be anything like it is if it had like EA backing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or any...
Well, there'd be so many different restrictions in that case.
Exactly, and it would have been released at an even lesser state than it is now. And Divinity is not like the only example I have of the potential meets reality thing, but it is just something to talk about because Divinity, at the end of the day, isn't what I expected. One of the problems I have with it, and this really pisses me off about the game, and I've heard Larian's excuses, and I don't agree with them. The puzzles in it are stupidly obtuse. And some of them you can only get through by having a really high perception. That's like the only way. Otherwise, it's just trial and error. And one of them is you have to press 4 buttons in the right order. It's either have a higher perception...
hints or anything?
No, exactly. There needs to be hints. There's a difference between, hand-holding and just being like, right, well, deal with it. There are a couple puzzles I've had to look up.
So, they give you nothing to work with. It's not like a legit puzzle where you solve something. It's just you're there and you don't know what to do?
Yep. Unless you have a higher perception.
Interesting.
And, yeah, if you level your party right, you should have a higher perception. But I didn't. I apologise, Larian. I'm sorry that I'm clearly the idiot in this situation. But I didn't agree with that. And Larian's excuse was, we just don't want to hold your hand. We want you to be able to solve problems through multiple different ways. Well, you gave me 2 ways. High perception or trial and error. So you gave me 1 way. Perception.
Well, and even trial and error, saying you had to press the 4 buttons in a certain sequence or whatever, why would you do that? How would you know to do that in that scenario?
Some of the buttons are obscured as well. You don't even see them. So, But yeah, so it's like... another example, I'll say, is Awesonaut Starstorm. That's done a very similar thing, where it's released the game early, and there's plenty more to come. Is that okay? It's like... That's not what people were promised, and no one was ever told... Like, that's one of the things with Divinity and Awesomeness, is no one was ever told that they were going to do this. And no one was ever prepared that they were going to change and then do this. They just did it and said, oh, by the way, guys, we're releasing it early, more content to come. Is that okay?
Well, now, to me, that would depend. Did they have a definitive release date to begin with?
No, and Kickstarter never does it? So that's where they sort of have... Again, I'm not... like getting mad at the publishers or anything. I'm just talking about sort of like the idea of Kickstarter never really does 100% deliver on its promises, unless it's like, food, where they're like, we will make some jam, and then they make some jam.
And send you the jam.
Done. But, with video games, and it is most prevalent with video games, possibly music, very likely movies as well, and maybe books. So everything but for them. But, anything that's not physical, anything that needs to be, quote-unquote, developed, like a video game or a movie or music, there's that potential there to not be what you expected. And that is the, I've forgotten the Latin for it, but buyer beware.
Yeah.
Caveat emptor. But yeah, sorry, I've rambled a lot. So, Decker, I've thrown a lot of points at you. So, thoughts so far?
Well, so far, to me, at the end of the day, the overall is, if you're willing to put money into it, it's a project you're interested in, you know the risk, that's kind of all on you. However, if they default or change something, that kind of raises a warning flag to me. Like, say you were with them from the beginning, they promised this, you gave them money for that, oh, now we're going to do this. That's kind of shady to me. But at the same time, because I personally have not yet funded any Kickstarter programs. Ooh. But
I don't know. All the hipsters are hating you right now.
Yeah, I know. Screw the hipsters. But
first offense of the day.
Those wool caps. No, I just, every time I look into it, I think, okay, is this going to be fleshed out? I don't know. And for how poor I am, I can't justify putting money into that when I don't really know what's going to come back to me. Now, if it was a project I fully support and I was like, damn, that's going to be tight, I would probably do it. But I haven't really looked into them, but I haven't found something like that for myself yet.
Yeah. So for you, it has to have a much higher potential versus risk of quote-unquote reality for you to actually back it.
For the most part, I mean, I have no problem with people trying to do this, and because personally, publishers can suck one, because half the time they just cleave the ideas of some of these developers, you know. Yeah. And I enjoy the fact that these guys are trying to become independent and do what they want to do. But I just haven't, and hopefully Divinity will change my mind about this, but I just haven't yet seen something funded. I've seen a lot of indies do well, which is a different topic, but the Kickstarters I haven't seen really just punch me in the face with quality, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's actually, there was one other point I forgot to raise about Divinity. I did start raising it, then completely forgot. Larian promised a, vast, epic game. It's not linear, but you do go from zone to zone to zone to zone, and there's not that many zones. And
how open are the zones?
They're reasonably open. I mean, it's very dungeon siege-y. But to me, I kind of just expected a little more.
Now, is that something that might be introduced later again, or?
Well, that's the thing. It's possibly more because they're trying to build a modding scene as well.
Okay.
So I think they kind of get away from it by having the modding scene, so they can just say, oh, well, you can just go play someone else's campaign. That kind of thing. And
that's fine, unless it takes away.
It's 40 hours, and I can't imagine myself getting any more than maybe 55 hours out of this game. And if I just blitzed through it, I imagine it would be a lot. It would be around 30 hours. For this apparently super epic RPG made by, and it's called a CRPG, I think, because it's based on D&D. For a game like that is supposed to be the brainchild completely away from any restrictions made by this company Larian that have made a large amount of these kind of RPGs. If 30 hours, like minimum, is what they can muster, with all the money in the world, they got so much money. Is that really it?
Is that epic quality?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, again, I love the game, and I've said that enough, but Larian has a lot of experience. They have no restrictions. They were just doing what they wanted to do. That is they just did what they wanted. And yet it's only about, minimum 30 hours, maximum, I think they said 60. Is that enough? That's a completely subjective thing, and I don't know, because 60 hours is a lot of gameplay.
It is. And it's, what is it, $40 on Steam, I believe?
Yeah.
Divinity. But, that again comes to what was promised. Did it just say epic RPG and that was it, and leaving it open to suggestion,
it
or?
Never said exactly how long it was going to be, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And that's the thing, though, is the game does bear multiple playthroughs, but so far I've done nearly everything I can do in the game up to this point, and the difference I would go to there is Skyrim, I've put in about 440 hours and still haven't done everything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but in that case, you probably also are using mods, correct?
Yes, I am.
And, well, of course, we work for a modding community, so I would hope so. But have you tried any of, because you said Divinity is moddable, have you tried any of the player-made mods yet?
There haven't been that many yet.
Okay.
Divinity has done the same thing as Bethesda and just released their dev kit, essentially.
Okay. So it's just the full tool then?
Yeah, it's just waiting for it to come out now. is that waiting for the mods to come out at the moment, but nothing significant has come out.
Okay.
So
That, I mean, granted, Skyrim is a huge game and has plenty of content on its own, but the modding community for Skyrim is insane, and they add so much content. It's just ridiculous.
unreal. They make it a better game by far. But that's sort of the main sort of point of the conversation in general, is that how much does caveat emptor come into something like this, where you are potentially putting a lot of money down to something that doesn't exist yet, by your own choice, obviously, hence caveat emptor. But if it doesn't deliver, do you really just have yourself to blame? Because again, my prime example being Larian Studio could do whatever they want with this game and still didn't make exactly what I feel they promised. Again, it is very subjective. Some people think it's the best game ever, and it is really good. But, you know,
Yeah. I mean, again, at the end of the day, to me, it's what... If you're willing to put it in, you know it's a risk. There you have it. But
there you go.
I don't feel it's right that if they were to back on something they promised after they have received this money, that isn't right to me.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, it's a very subjective thing. It's hard to talk about.
Well, and I'm not shaking a stick at Divinity because I don't even know. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. But overall, as well, that's the point I want to stress, is I do support Kickstarter. I think that Kickstarter, a good game Kickstarter project, offers way more information at that stage of developing than most companies do, because most companies at an early stage will give you a CGI trailer. And that's it. Kickstarter will be
maybe
like,
a gameplay
this is
trailer
what the game is going to be, this is the main character, this is a trailer, this is some concept art, this is the first level, this is the stuff. They will tell you everything they can. But it's all subject to change. Hence why big companies don't do it.
And that is one of the problems, is the subject to change, because, like you said, you didn't feel they fully delivered on the promise. And you can't necessarily expect them to always do it 100%, but it's just that risk factor. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to do about it? How could it be different?
Yeah, I think, yeah. That's it at the end of the day, really, isn't it? It's just... There's more content to come, so Divinity is sort of exempt from the argument to some extent. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I just wanted to sort of touch on the idea of, like... with Kickstarter, it's a very different form of pre-ordering, because pre-ordering a big game, which a lot of internet personalities say we shouldn't do, and I agree with it, is, you know, like TB and Jim Sterling, stuff like that. They all say don't pre-order, just don't do it at all, ever. And yeah, with the Kickstarter is pre-ordering, but you get a lot more information. So is Kickstarting okay? Because you are usually supporting indie devs. There was one occasion where a company did it and got so much flack. But you're supporting an indie dev by doing it at the end of the day. You're supporting a project that wouldn't have gotten made otherwise be made. So, is
Now,
quote-unquote Kickstarter pre-ordering okay compared to...
I look at it more as investing than pre-ordering, personally.
Yeah.
Because with a pre-order, I mean, in general, the game's done, or getting close to being done, and you're just like, hey, I think I'm going to want that. Let's get it early.
Yep, you
Whatever.
get the game, and you get maybe some bits and bats.
Yeah. But Kickstarter, half the time, they're not going to be able to release the project unless they reach their goal of what they're looking for. And so, to me, that's more of an investment than pre-order, but I don't know.
Because if you pre-order the game, if you pre-order or don't, the game's still going to come out. If you don't kickstart, the game might not come out.
Exactly. And that's the difference to me in that scenario.
I'm gonna go over examples of what I got for my Kickstarter, just to sort of run it over. Like, for Awesomenauts, the one I pledged the most for, I pledged Bronze Tier. I got the Ghost Leon skin, exclusive announcer, digital art book. I got a copy of the game. I got 2 copies of the game, actually, I think. No, yeah, sorry, I got a copy, but I already had the game, so I didn't have to care, kind of thing, you know? I got a copy of the game, I got the soundtrack, and then, obviously, I got beta access to the game. That, I feel, is money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that beta access extends even after Starstorm ends. I get to stay in the Awesomenauts beta. For all their other, you know, doohickey whatsits. Granted, League of Legends' PBE is free. For anyone.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But yeah, money well spent. But was the actual reality of the actual product what I expected it to be? Yes and no. Like, I have a slew of other problems with the developers of Awesomenauts that people from my channel will know, but we won't get into that.
Ooh.
But I think we've sort of done this topic to death.
To death.
To death at this point.
Beaten it with a stick and left it to rot.
Pretty much. So we're going to move on to the topic the deck is going to be running for this.
Topic number 2.
Show. Topic number 2. Da-da-da-da.
Play.
So go ahead.
We're going to discuss a little bit of pay-to-play versus free-to-play versus pay-to-win. Now, yeah, we'll go ahead and start with pay-to-play.
Okay.
How much, well, for examples, World of Warcraft, the newer ones, Final Fantasy XIV, WildStar, games like that. What have you played and or enjoyed of pay-to-play?
I spent about 3-4 years playing World of Warcraft. Really enjoyed it. Stopped playing because I had no one to play with.
Mm-hmm.
I played Final Fantasy XI with a friend. It was okay. Only for a couple months. WildStar, I don't get why people are so hyped for that game. I played the beta for an hour and was really, really, really bored. And people were saying the combat's amazing and the starting zones are epic. No, it's really boring. It's really boring. That game is boring.
I found it quite mediocre because I was in the beta as well, yeah. And the only reason I had fun with it is because I was playing with a friend. Yeah. Like that's kind of the core idea of an MMO is to play with friends. But at the same time, most these days are releasing some form of solo content, which I still enjoy. It just like drug to me when I tried to do it by myself without my friend. I was just like, I've done all this before. The animation style's a little unique, sure, but like, I didn't get it either, I'll just say.
That's the thing, is with like, World of Warcraft is the only one I could probably play on my own. When Warlords of Draenor comes out, I'm probably going to get it and play
I might. I haven't decided yet because
we should play together.
We should, but you're over there on the European servers, aren't you?
Then you get an EU server.
But then I'll have to leave. When I left MOP, right? Mists of Pandaria, I had every expensive mount and 200,000 gold left over on my server.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave that behind.
Would you? Well, actually, yeah. Would you have to get an EU account and give up your? No. Yeah, you can play. You can play on the American servers without having to buy the games again.
And I guess the mount, because it would still be connected to my account, so the mounts would probably still transfer over with their new mount system. But anyway, regardless, off topic.
Yeah,
so while playing World of Warcraft, you said you enjoyed it. I personally did most of the time. I have my qualms here and there, but we won't get into that. The sub model, paying per month. Did that work for you? Did you feel like that was bad?
I was okay with it. I thought they charged me a reasonable price. I feel like I played enough to justify it. And, yeah, I thought it's a decent and very sustainable model, or at the time it was.
Mm-hmm. Now, because most people these days who defend free-to-play versus pay-to-play, which we'll get into that in a little bit, they say the submodel is dead. It should never be in existence, period. Do you agree with that, or...?
Yeah, I think it has its place.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Blizzard have openly said they're never going free to play with World of Warcraft, which does disappoint me. I would like to play it for free. But then there's games like EVE Online, which do very well, mostly because if you play the game enough, you are rewarded by the fact that you won't actually have to pay for it. Because if you play it enough, you can buy subscription with in-game currency.
And that actually that's one thing I will say about WildStar that they introduced that I thought was interesting, because they did that as well. But that's going to kind of meld into Star Wars, The Old Republic. Did you ever play that? No. Okay, so they started as the sub model, like World of Warcraft.
And then eventually went into
Then they went free to play.
Horrible transition of it, apparently.
But the biggest problem was they kind of split off into a hybrid with it, is what the problem was, because you could still sub. And if you didn't, you were restricted. You could still play most of the game, but your experience was nerfed, this and that, and once you got endgame, you were only allotted a certain amount of quote-unquote battlegrounds. I think they were called war zones in that one. That kind of thing, and raids. You were restricted. So they really pushed, okay, you could sub now. You could sub now.
And wait, do you know you could sub?
Exactly, and it really pushed it down your throat, which I played subbed Tor, and I enjoyed it. The story was pretty good. Voice acting was phenomenal. Darren Norris. Anyway,
Jennifer Hale's in it as well.
Yeah. And David Hayter. Lost my train of thought. But then they introduced the cartel market, which was their microtransactions as well. So they had a sub plan and a microtransaction plan together. And personally,
Secret World did that as well.
Well, yeah, okay.
Secret World did it worse. They had subs, only subs, and microtransactions.
It's kind of the same thing at the same time, though.
No, but I mean, you had to sub.
Regardless, you had. I thought they recently went free to play.
Yeah, they went free to play.
Okay.
At
the beginning, they also had microtransactions.
Yeah, they were subs and microtransactions, and you had to sub.
See, and that's in between pay-to-play and free-to-play. With pay-to-play, if there is a sub-plan, there should not be microtransactions, in my opinion. You should have access to the game, because you're paying for it. If it was free-to-play and you had microtransactions, okay, we'll get into that. But with Star Wars The Old Republic, for example, they tried to bridge that gap between microtransaction and sub by saying most of the stuff purchased on the cartel market you can buy with in-game currency. Okay, but it just never felt right to me. Because I had a friend that, because when we get into a game together, if we start playing, he gets really into it, right? And he's like, all right, I'm going to just buy a big chunk of money, or for the cartel, the currency for the microtransactions, and we're subbing, and he's doing that. And I'm just like, dude, don't do that. But it's just a flawed system to me. Good game overall, but one or the other.
Yeah, it's kind of a line that you shouldn't cross. But there's the thing, World of Warcraft does that now. They have subs, and only subs, and microtransactions.
Mm-hmm. And that actually bugged me, because I was hoping they were going to stay true, but once they merged with Activision. But, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on real quickly to now free-to-play. For example, we'll start with League of Legends, which I think, regardless of if you like the game or not, is a very solid free-to-play system.
Yeah.
You can essentially unlock everything other than cosmetics just by playing the game. And in a game that's free, and the microtransaction, you can purchase other characters with purchased in-game currency, but there's also an in-game currency you earn by playing the game. So literally the only full restriction is cosmetics. To me, that's fine.
Yeah, and with League of Legends, if you play enough, you will never have to buy a character, like with real money, because you earn enough IP, as it's called,
influence points, I believe.
Influence points to buy characters pretty quickly. If you play enough, that's the thing. You still
at the same time. There's times where, yeah, and if you're just starting out, there's going to be times where you're like, I want a new character, but at the same time, like you said, if you play enough, you can. And to me, that's cosmetics. Okay, fine. Charge me for cosmetics. whatever. It doesn't affect actual gameplay. To me, I like that system. Now, another example I'll give. Have you played Path of Exile?
Yes. I like that game.
Yes, it is another good, very good example of successful free-to-play, in my opinion. Your opinion?
I liked the transactions in that. Most of it was cosmetic. The game itself is a fantastic game. So yeah, I think they did well. If you want to pay money for the cosmetic stuff, or I think there's some like in-game bonuses you can get, like extra teleports or something something along.
There was a few things to where I was like, oh, why does that have to be microtransaction, like a bank tab expansion or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
That kind of, but there was enough of the game, and you could play the full game free to play without restriction. And as far, I haven't played it in a while, so I can't say currently, but as far as when I was playing, you didn't purchase any game balance changing items within their microtransaction system.
No. Most of the microtransactions are just weapon reskins or armor reskins, or like, you glow.
You glow.
Yeah,
you have to buy that in every game. You have to glow.
You have to glow.
Oh, man. But then that shifts into pay to win, is when a free-to-play game, or even a sub-game in some cases, will introduce a microtransaction system where you can purchase an item or a buff or some form of advance that alters your character for the balance of the game to make you better.
Which is bull. Like, that should never happen.
Never. That, in my opinion, is the ultimate bane of gaming. To say, you give us more money, we'll make you better than everyone else. Absolute horseshit. But that is my opinion. Matt, what is yours?
The problem with pay to win is I think it's universally accepted as bad, but the problem with it is it's misused so often, because you could, in theory, call League of Legends pay to win, because new champions are always, well, I say always, more often than not, overpowered. So
within the first few weeks of their release, they usually are.
Exactly, but if you buy them and then play a bunch, you can either up your ranking if they don't get banned, or you can just get a bunch of IP and buy a bunch of runes. You know, that kind of thing. And runes are really helpful. Oh,
they very much are. And for those who don't know, the rune system is an item you will purchase with either IP or RP, the either earned or purchased currency.
You can't buy runes with RP.
Oh, you can't anymore? You could early. Okay, anyway. Oh, that's right, they did change that in the patch.
But that's why I say it's pay to win, because then you pay to buy a character to win a lot to buy runes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is where it's and I slightly agree with you. And
Exactly, it's iffy.
I hate and love the ban system for ranked queues, because if someone is overpowered, they'll just get banned in that stage. You know, big whoop. But at the same time, if you go in there really wanting to play a character and he gets banned, it's like, damn it. But anyway, I slightly agree with you. However, they do have enough of a system to balance it out, in my opinion, with the in-game currency.
But that's my point, is it gets misused. I'm not saying that is pay to win. I'm saying that's technically pay to win. So, you know, it's misused all the time. Like, I'm sure you could find some way of calling World of Warcraft pay to win or whatever. Or because you could at one point, because there's some of the stuff you can buy with microtransactions in World of Warcraft, you can sell for in-game gold. So that's technically pay to win. You get more gold.
So now that draws a line that's very thin to me. Like, I'll give a couple examples here. You give WoW, and then they're like the cartel market for Tor, because you could sell a lot of the stuff you got on the cartel market on the Galactic Network, I think their auction house was called.
The auction house.
Well, dude, no, you don't understand. You go in there and you call it the auction house, and everyone's like, "It's the fucking Galactic Market, you butthole!" Like, they get.
How dare you use the wrong term? What are you for World of Warcraft?
That's exactly how they handled it. Anyway,
and then my response would be, yes, I am.
You copied me. Deal with it. But, WoW copied enough from other people. Anyway, But then you have, like, Diablo 3, where they have since changed it, which is good, in my opinion, that you could buy items or sell items with real money or in-game currency, right? But then they introduced the ability to straight up buy gold with real currency.
Jesus, when did they do that?
Oh, it was because for this last expansion, they completely shut down the auction house, but it wasn't very long after release, to be perfect. I mean, it was a little ways, but it just raped the economy, period. I mean, anyone who didn't buy gold was just like, well, I can't buy anything now because it skewered the economy so hard.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the definition of pay to win. Now, in that scenario, it's not like an MMO. It's an action RPG where you can play with up to 4 people. I understand that. But that is still pay to win to me.
Yeah, because for one, there's PvP in that game. But also, if you pay for it, even if it is in a single player game, if you pay something to like beat a level, like, you know, Candy Crush or fucking Angry Birds, that's still pay to win. You're still paying to win the game.
And just at its core, that's flawed to me. I do miss games to where, like, even with cosmetics, like I said, I can understand League of Legends free to play, and you get the cosmetics with the currency. That's fine to me. But I miss the days where you would unlock stuff by playing the game because it's the game you're playing. I miss that. I'm so sick of, oh, you want to do this? Sorry, you're going to have to pay. No, you can't go over there. You have to pay for access in there. It's like, what?
Just let me play your game.
Yeah, and that's my ultimate point, personally.
Well, the thing is, it's always going to be an iffy thing. I don't think anyone's ever going to make a perfect game. Some games do it better than others. Like, World of Warcraft just does the sub thing spot on. You know, there's not much they need to do, really. Well, no, actually, EVE Online does the sub thing perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Where you can buy in-game time. With in-game currency.
With in-game currency.
And then because then you are rewarded for playing as much as you do. You are rewarded for it, which is cool and very nice of the developers. EVE Online developers, best developers ever, but we won't get into that. They just are. And then free-to-play has so many variations. Absolutely so many. Like Guild Wars.
Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2 is technically pay-to-play because you have to buy the game.
You have to buy the game, but no sub fee.
But there's no fub fee.
Fub fee.
There's no fub fee. So, but it is free-to-play, really. You buy the game, it's free-to-play, then there's microtransactions. I like that model. I think that's a good model. Guild Wars 2 does the model really well. Guild Wars 2 is a good game, so go play it. And then you've got a bunch of other games that just do microtransactions. Like you've got Terra. Oh, and every time I mention Terra, I just feel so sad. Because it's the best looking MMO ever. It just looks so beautiful, and the combat system's amazing, and the questing is really boring. It's so sad.
I only got into the beta for that one. I just couldn't do their sub fee when they first came out.
Dude, it's free to play now. Play with me. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. We have to play it.
You're one of the lollies, aren't you?
No, I play the dragon dudes. I do. And it's amazing. Guys, go on my channel and there'll be a Terra Let's Play with Chris. Chris Decker, it's totally happening. And we'll get Chris Takahashi involved as well. It'll be great.
Why do you keep confusing me with an Asian? I'm so confused.
I don't know. I'm sleepy. I have a flu, cold thing. Shut up.
I think he left something. Never mind.
But there are so many different variations of free-to-play, and that's the problem. That's the problem with free-to-play as a whole, is the fact that it is so different and varying. You can't
itself is not a solid model.
Exactly. You can't say free-to-play is a good thing. Because
you
it
can
isn't
give
always.
good examples of free-to-play.
Bingo.
You can't say as a whole.
Like, can you say pay-to-play is good or bad? Yes, on a subjective manner. Because you might not like it. Is it a good thing? Again, it's subjective. But free-to-play, you really can't say either way, subjective or otherwise, because of its variation, unless you can say that it's good because of its variation or bad because of its variation. Those are the only reasons you could say it's good or bad, really.
Yeah.
And that's not a valid reason, I don't think so.
Well, and then at the end of the day, with pay-to-play, to me, because most people I talk about that defend free-to-play to the death. Like, they sit there and say, I will never play a game that isn't free-to-play. Go screw yourself, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's...
That just means you don't want to support these guys. You exactly, are trying as hard as you can to not pay a dime. How the hell can they afford to pander to a community like that? Now, I can understand not wanting to pay bulk purchase price plus sub fee. I understand that.
Yeah.
But with a game, for example, like World of Warcraft again, because of that sub fee, they are able to constantly pump out content. Yeah. And I will admit, they have been pretty stagnant in MOP now that they're working on Warlords of Draenor. Because they released this raid and they're like, well, this is the last raid. Yeah, they usually give it a little more of a closer deadline because Siege of Orgrimmar is the latest raid they introduced. And that's been there for a while now, and Draenor's still a ways out there. So there's going to be a pretty big dry spell of no new content, which I'm kind of iffy about. Yeah. But in general, those with sub fees are able to pump out fleshed out content more frequently, and that's what people are paying for. And another example is Final Fantasy XIV. Good game, and I'm currently playing it, and each patch is introducing...
And soon you will play Terra with me.
Maybe.
No, it'll happen.
It'll probably happen. But every patch they're doing is substantial. They're introducing new encounters, new trials, which is single encounters like a quick boss fight. They're introducing new raids. They're introducing a new class in the next one without needing to purchase an expansion, this and that. And because of this sub fee, they're able to do that. Whereas free-to-play, like League of Legends, great game, how often are they coming out with new content? Not very often. They're introducing... Yeah, League of Legends. Like, they're doing these slight little game modes that they're just instantly ripping from the shelf for a week. Like, here, have Doombots. No more Doombots. Here, have Earth mode. No more Earth mode. And they introduced Aram a while back, which was good to me, because...
Yeah, I like Aram.
I get a little bored, to be perfectly honest, with League of Legends. It's the meta. It's the same thing. You hold your lane for 5 to 10 minutes until there starts to be a team fight. You join it's the same thing.
But there's
it's fun.
Benefit of it being free to play, and most MOBAs being free to play. Like, if I get really bored with League of Legends, I go play Dawnggate.
Yeah.
And Dawngate's awesome. So, you know, in Deca, we've got to play Dawnggate as well.
Yeah. Infinite Crisis.
I like Infinite Crisis. I wish that had a bigger community. It just
My Gaslight Batman beats the crap out of people.
I sat waiting for about 10 minutes for a match in that game. But, there's one game we haven't mentioned that I think needs a mention.
Okay.
It's free to play for entirely different reasons. And that's Dota 2.
Mm-hmm.
That game is free to play and has no it does have microtransactions now, but that game is free to play and costs so much money because Valve can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they wanted to, but because they can. You know, because when that game first came out, it was a huge money sink. Just money, just down the toilet for Dota 2. Just gone. They were hemorrhaging money for it. They didn't care because they can afford it. And now it makes oodles of cash through esports.
And I think that was a driving factor, is they expected a return. They weren't just throwing money to throw money.
But it can afford it. That's the thing is,
yeah.
even if Dota 2 stopped making money, they wouldn't care. They'd just be like, we can afford it. We're still making a $2 billion turnaround. You know, they won't care.
Well, they have even a more open free-to-play system, in my opinion, than most MOBAs, because you have access to just about everything. I mean...
Yeah, you're instantly given access to everything. You don't have to buy characters or anything like that. The only thing you can buy is cosmetics, but exactly. You are also... There is no in-game currency. You were just given everything.
Mm-hmm. And that is the ultimate form, to me, of free-to-play, I guess, is unrestricted access... other than cosmetics, which, hey, if you get really good in a champ, you want them to look different, fine. Support them. But that is a very good model for free-to-play.
Well, that's what I do. I have nearly all of the Shyvana skins from League of Legends, and I'm okay with that. Because I love that champion, I like supporting Riot, and I like doing that. And actually, if we're on the topic of MOBAs, a MOBA I want to talk about that is not free-to-play, the only non-free-to-play MOBA, in the sense that you have to buy it in the first place, is Awesome Nauts. You have to buy that game. Like, it's the only one that has that sort of Guild Wars 2 model of buy the game.
Do they also have microtransactions?
Not many. That's the thing, is they don't put out enough content, really, to make enough microtransactions. That's the thing. That's why, in my opinion, Awesome Nauts won't really go anywhere. But whatever. Well, that's a different opinion. It's not important. But it is the only MOBA that does this, and it is probably one of the least successful MOBAs. Mm-hmm. It has a community.
I've actually never even played it personally.
You'd enjoy it, I suppose. It's alright. I enjoy it. I play it several times a week on my channel at youtube.com/madman522.
How many plugs can we fit in one episode?
I've plugged it twice.
I think it's been like 4.
It's been 3.
4.
Fine.
3.5.
3.5. We'll go with 3.5. Because there's somewhere I've just said my channel and not actually named my channel. Madman522.
Well, there's been countless times you said, hey, we're going to do that on my channel. Hey, we're going to do that on my channel. Hey.
Yeah, I have. Channel. Yeah, I have, Decker. What the fuck are you going to do about it?
I'm going to expose it.
Okay. But yeah, that's one thing I really want to very quickly touch on before we move on from this topic is, do you think MOBAs could work with that kind of model where you pay for the game and then unlock the characters through experience just by playing the game, not by buying the games? You just reach a certain level and the game's like, here, have this character. And then once you've unlocked them permanently. But you have to buy the game. And granted, Awesome Nauts is about £7.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, I think it could, personally. There's been countless times on League of Legends, because at this point I've unlocked quite a few of the champs, but not all of them, and I have most of the ones I want to play. But back when I was playing it, I was like, look, I could spend $30 on ride points to get like 3 skins, or I would have much rather played $50 and just be able to unlock everything.
Yeah.
Now, then that depends on if they're going to shove microtransactions down your throat or not. But if I could have paid one bulk chunk for League of Legends to have access to the whole game.
Smite! We forgot Smite!
Smite, we did! I like Smite.
Has the buy all the champions function.
It does, and that is an excellent point.
Forever.
Yes, I did that. $30 for all their current champions, and then at that point I think it was the next 5 released.
I've got it for all of them, ever.
Mm-hmm. But, and even then, you do that, and then you're able to build up enough of their in-game currency to buy whatever might come out next. But anyway, yes.
I think because I bought I have nothing to spend in-game currency on now. Oh no, I can buy some skins. There are some skins you
like
can
the
buy
gold
with.
skins or whatever
the gold
they are.
Skins, yeah.
But and that is a good point. Is I was drawn to that. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. I'll do that because I actually like the mechanic. To me, Smite feels like an action RPG version of League of Legends. To me. You're more down up in there, and you control them in a much different... Because I actually play that with a controller. I find it smoother, but that's me.
But yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's innovation as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Free-to-play has so many different interpretations.
It does.
So is it good? Is it bad? Who feckin' knows?
And it, again, suggestive, because I know people that are diehard subs, and I know people that are diehard free-to-play, so...
Yeah, there you go. So it was like, one thing I will say to the viewers, at this stage...
I don't think we have any fans, Matt.
No, people don't like us. The viewers at the time is... I do sort of apologise that neither of these topics had, like, straight up, like, these are our opinions and deal with it, like the first one did. This was just a discussion. So, if you guys want us to discuss things a bit more, sort of, where we have very forward opinions, not just at the end of the day, kind of like, win some, lose some. Because that's not really an opinion, is it? That's just kind of some are good, some are bad, who cares? I'm going to stay neutral.
Exactly.
So if you guys want us to have hard opinions, well, remember that. Comment down below.
Mm-hmm. And if you have any ideas of something you would want us to discuss or debate or share our opinions with, also light us up.
Head down to the comment section below. But that is the end of the topic section.
It is.
We're going to move on to the news section. After, if our editor is smart and puts a advert in, like, between these two sections, he might not. Who cares? So, we will see you in the news section, which I'm starting now. Hello, welcome to the news section. Oh my god.
That was a very smooth transaction, man.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing.
Transition. Not transaction. What?
Transaction. Decker, I made a transaction.
You did.
Mm-hmm. But the first news story we're going to cover, that we actually intended to cover in a different topic, but we're going to cover now, is over 20 million people watched the International Dota 2 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Holy balls.
'Tis a lot.
That is, like, as much as the Super Bowl. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I don't know if... 'cause that was including streaming. I don't know if the Super Bowl includes streaming.
Probably not.
I wouldn't know. Anyway, Dota.
Yeah, it's an insane number though that how popular esports can be, especially since Dota 2 is like fairly recent. You know, I don't think League of Legends makes these numbers.
They make close. I don't know. I should have looked that up beforehand, to be perfectly honest. I don't know the comparison of numbers, but League, it has its following. We'll just say that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is stupidly popular, and so is StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing. It's like, it's just a news story. We've told you the news. Now we're discussing it a bit. Esports are just becoming more and more of a valid thing.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it going to be until we see esports on TV? Like a channel dedicated to esports? I mean, granted, we'd need enough games that do esports for this to happen.
Well, see, now that esports is becoming more popular, there are more games coming out geared toward esports.
Yes, and that's kind of a good, bad, maybe thing, because some of them we've seen come out that are like, oh, we're going to try and build an esports scene. I'm like, well, you suck, so can you make a good game first? Like, what was it? That railgun game, I forgot what it was called. TV did a commentary on it, and I watched it, and I just thought, this game looks like crap.
I don't know what you're talking about offhand.
Well, so the viewers might know, and if they don't, oh well.
They can correct us in the comments.
Yeah, they can correct us in the comments below when you like and favorite and subscribe.
And then go to Matt's channel.
And go to Matt's channel. You did it for me. Da, 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 da. But yeah, esports is really cool, and that's the thing, is obviously we've got Heroes of the Storm coming out, and I actually am really annoyed at myself. I wish I'd kept up with Heroes of the Storm news better, because they held a shoutcasting tournament, like contest, where they sent out a replay and you recorded your shoutcasting it. And I want to get into shoutcasting. I'd love to do it. And that's the thing. When Awesomenauts itself gets its spectator mode out, I will be doing shoutcasting, because I do like Awesomenauts.
On your YouTube channel.
Most of my following is Awesomenauts, and I'm quite known in the Awesomenauts community. Not super known, but people know who I am. They know me on the forums as that guy that keeps saying controversial things, like the AI station is bullshit, and that Ronimo is really bad at balancing the game. But whatever.
Opinions.
Oh my god! I'm just throwing opinions out at you. I thought this was a news section.
God.
But esports is a really cool thing because it brings a lot of people together, just like football does. And I kind of hope that, if esports got onto TV, people would be a lot more accepting of gamers and professional gamers.
And I'm going to meld that into our next news topic after this, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
But I would love to see it get more, spotlight and see the people make the TV channels, like you were saying, of esports. But there's been people saying, like, oh, we need them in the Olympics. No, we don't.
Fuck off.
It's like, that's not what it is, But,
well, actually, no. Quickly, original Olympics did feature stuff like sculpting and writing and poetry.
Did they?
Yes. The original... Well, I say the original. 100, 200 years ago, they featured writing and poetry. So, is it crazy?
I think for what it has been developed now, it is a show of physical expertise.
Yes, it is.
And I think it should stay that way because that's what it is. Now, if you want to make another form, and like I said, I want it out there.
Dude,
but,
eSport Olympics.
Yeah, if they had their own
that.
thing, whatever, you'll be like that guy that died in, was it China, who sat there and played D3 for 72 hours straight without getting up?
Yeah, I reported on that. That was, like, just very quickly, the reaction to that was disgusting.
Yeah.
So many people making jokes and saying the dude was, like, crazy and that, laughing at him and blah, blah, blah and that kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, they're jokes, but seriously, dude, this is a dead man. This guy is dead now. Don't make
It's fun to
that.
look down on the situation, but not joke about it.
Yeah. It was just kind of wrong. But whatever,
Anyway,
irrelevant.
I'm going to meld that straight into one of the other news stories about MLG suspending a pro gamer for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know, the MLG is the Major League Gaming, and they hold tournaments for such games as like League of Legends, StarCraft 2, Call of Duty, and I think they do Mortal Kombat. Do they? Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
So they are the essentially a professional ring of esports. Yeah. And they have suspended a Call of Duty gamer for repeated harassment, and this is following, I think, 2 bans from League of Legends for their extreme toxicity, I believe.
Yeah. Well, a member of the Evil Genius team was actually on the new Riot show, Patch Rundown. The leader of Evil Genius was on there. Not to talk about that, but he was on there. So Riot still, value them.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then that's kind of, as far as shooting off real quick for discussion on this, do you think they should have those kind of restrictions on their gamers?
What do you mean, like actual bans?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like you can ban a player from playing the game, you should be able to ban a player from tournaments if they don't deserve to be in those tournaments. If they don't, if they're a bad example, why should they get to earn money off being a bad example?
Yeah, that's exactly where I stand on that. Especially because they're signing contracts about that. I mean, they are literally breaching what they have dedicated to. I mean, you have to live with your consequences in situations like that.
And that's the thing. If you break the rules of the game, like these people were doing, or these people do often do, he didn't get banned for that reason of breaking the game's rules, but he got banned for another reason that we'll go into. But if you break those rules, then you should be banned from the game, not just from tournaments, because you broke the rules of the game. So,
well, and that's like, being professional doesn't mean you're exempt. It means you have to follow it to a T. I mean, it
means you have to follow it more.
Yeah, you are the example. And so if you're breaching all of both the contract you've signed with MLG and their terms of, what's
conditions.
Yeah. You've broken both of them. You have to live with it. I mean, that's my input.
And that's the thing. And here is where, sorry, or noble leader, I offend people here. Have you ever, Decker, actually watched the MLG Call of Duty tournaments?
Only the matches, not much else. Like, I don't listen to the audio. I just watch.
It's hilarious. It is a fine display of everything that is wrong with gamers. Because, no, it was
They're all just
pathetic.
acting like children, or what?
Yeah, there shouldn't be tournaments, because they were in the same room, which is a dumb idea, because StarCraft players are in, like, separate, like, airtight, like, little lockers, basically. But yeah, they were in the same room, across from each other, and every time one of them got a kill or anything, some of the players would stand up, on stage, stand up, point, swear, laugh, insult, whatever.
What a circus.
You should not be allowed to make money from doing that.
No, I mean...
And they all got in trouble, and most of... I think the last time this happened, it was in 2013. You can watch the video somewhere. They got their prize money revoked. They were just no, you can't. You are banned now. Go away.
Yeah, that's exactly what should happen, in my opinion. Because I mean, and especially again, we'll go back to esports becoming more popular. That cannot be, and calling them an athlete is not exactly the right term, but that cannot be what you're showcasing. This is our professional gamer. They're not being professional.
Nope. If you act like a child, you get treated like a child.
Exactly.
And get removed. Now, the quote from the guy that got banned, he said, "It's simply just MLG being vindictive, power-hungry, spineless, manipulative, and probably a tad upset we told them to fuck off." And I just think, and you don't see why you were removed.
Yeah.
You act like a child and then get removed. Oh my god, you got told off by mummy and daddy. Oh no,
go to your room.
Go to your. It's like if you want to take part, act like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Or better yet, act your title. Act professional.
Exactly. I mean, and yes, football has enough fighting on their own, but looking at most professional situations, there is more to the word professional than just being part of the game. Yeah. That at the end of the day, you cannot act like a child and expect to be rewarded for that. You just can't.
And that's the thing, is I'm glad gaming is doing this, because footballers over here, the actual term football, sorry Americans.
That's fine.
And I don't even like football. I just know where we use English. More offensive. They can get away with murder. One of them, I can't remember his name. He beat his wife and then slept with a prostitute, and they were just like, "Oh, you get a 6-month ban from playing games." It's like,
get him out of there.
Yes.
What the hell?
And it's like gaming is nipping that in the bud. They're not letting that even start.
Well, they should too. We won't get into. Yeah. Anyway,
we'll move on to the next topic.
We'll move on. Go ahead.
Let's talk about San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the Mass Effect footage.
Ooh.
Mass Effect 4 footage. Basically, from this footage that we saw, the Mako is back. The news, all it is, was just a few details. The fact that the game takes place in Shepard's timeline, but not obviously Shepard's story.
And I don't.
Mako's back. And the one thing they said is you are going to spend a lot of time in the Mako.
Yes, they went into detail saying they are trying to make it more responsive and better to just play with the Mako.
Well, that's the thing. I liked the Mako. Always liked it. Never had a problem with it. I thought the Mako was great.
It was hit and miss with me. Now, I will ask you, though, did you...
drive up mountains!
And that was the great part, but it wasn't as responsive to me. Like, there were times I'm like, do this, goddammit, it ain't doing it!
I played on PC and never had a problem.
I did it on console. But
I played it on console first, and then got it on PC, and again, I still never had any problems. I loved the Mako. Granted, I just didn't care, because I found it hilarious every time it flipped over and rolled around for a bit.
Gotta love them physics.
Yeah, because I just stopped and clapped. It was like, yay!
10 out of 10! But Mako versus harvesting planets, or harvesting via planet scanning. What did you prefer the Mako then?
Mako was better. Mass Effect 1, despite its gameplay problems, was bigger and better. Removing the Mako from Mass Effect was the worst decision they made, because it made the game shorter. And yes, it is just padding driving around in the Mako a lot of the times. Yes, it is. But the planet exploration, and I really hope this is what this means when they say that you're going to spend a lot of time in the Mako. The planet exploration, if they're bringing that back, thank Christ. Because by Mass Effect 3, the universe felt so small.
Yeah.
It felt so small.
Well,
in Mass Effect 1, the galaxy is vast. Every star system has a planet to visit. Yes, it only has the same 4 things. A crashed satellite, a building, and a Prothean ruin. It has those 4 and some other variations. That's all it had. But it was cool. It was varying. It was fun. Each planet had a little bit of lore to look at. It was cool.
Now, Mass Effect 2, I actually found it quite relaxing to... For some reason, scanning those planets, I would just sit back, look at the planet, and be like, that looks awesome. I loved the music that was going on. I found it more of a relaxing time, when I was trying to get sleepy to go to bed. I'd just be like, hey, I'll just scan some planets real quick.
Meh.
But I do like the Mako.
But it made the universe just feel that much smaller.
Yeah.
Because in Mass Effect 2, I think there's only 4 5, not counting DLC missions where you scan a planet, find it, and land on it. So that's not a lot.
I thought it was more than 5.
No, it's not much more. It's definitely less than 10. Definitely less than 10.
I could say less than 10, but I thought it was more than 5.
Yeah, I don't know. But even then, when you land on the planet, it's like, here is a linear experience. Go do this thing. Here is very little, and it's very little character interaction or anything like that. You just do it. You know, it's like...
Well, the character interaction was more up to you, in my opinion, with 2, was you had to seek out the interaction.
Well, I think it was like that in Mass Effect 1. It's just...
It was.
There was no character action in most of those landing missions. It was just like a crashed mech ship that dropped. Like, you had to fight an army of mechs. No one talked during that other than the AI going, there's a storm coming from the right. That was it. You know, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, Mass Effect 1 had just these vast planets. That was cool.
Well, at SDCC, they did say, like, because I think their big points were, we're still years away from launch, and everyone, but they showed a human in a very Shepard-esque armor suit.
But without the N7.
Mm-hmm, without
the red line.
But, and they haven't really gone into who the main character is at all yet, but they did say
the game is like 2 years.
Oh, yeah. But they did say exploration is going to be something more fleshed out this time around.
Fucking good. Fucking good.
My biggest problem is no Garrus for carrying.
No Garrus. No.
I know.
Garrus is amazing.
Yes, he is.
But that's one thing I was talking about, and we're going to very quickly move on from this bit after I've mentioned this, because we don't want to... It's the news. But I do really hope they add multiple races to play.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It doesn't have to be all of them, and I know people will be pissed off if they don't add all of them, but it doesn't have to be all of them. Just give us Turian, Asari, and that's it. Turian, Asari, and human, people will be happy.
It might throw in a Krogan.
Yeah, maybe.
It probably wouldn't work as well for the main story, though.
Exactly. So, give us human, Turian, Asari. They're all welcome in Citadel space. There's no law reasons. It doesn't matter. Just give us that. Everyone will be happy. Just do it. Just guys. Bioware, listen. Bioware, we're gonna get a little personal here. Just give me that, and then I'm yours. Okay, it's fine, Bioware. Okay, right. I'm gonna go back to Decker now. Right. Okay. Oh, hey, Decker.
What's up, Matt?
Oh, right. Sorry, I was just
getting sexy.
I was just peeing. That's all. I was just
sexy?
away. It's fine.
Now wait a minute.
I'm back.
Peeing
I'm back now.
Is sexy to you? Did you just say that?
No. I said I was peeing. You said I'm sexy. So
but then you said yes. I was peeing.
You said peeing.
No, you said peeing. I said sexy.
No.
And you kind of just melded the two together so seamlessly. It was kind of awkward. Moving on.
Let's talk about Fable Legends. We watched a interview with the developers about Fable Legends, and it gave us some pretty cool information. Basically, yes, it is what we thought it was. It is sort of a 4-player versus the DM kind of thing, which we already knew. But what they wanted was... One thing we found out is it's 200 years before the original Fable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really in the age of the heroes. That kind of thing.
The guild hadn't even been formed yet. It is just these raw heroes roaming. Yeah,
and I think from what they've they kind of avoided a lot of the questions of, like, how is the game master going to affect the story? If the game master wins in a level, then how does the game progress?
Yeah, there was a lot of ambiguity
just like Dungeon
in his answers.
Is it just Dungeon Lands where it's just a campaign that you repeat over and over? Or is there a story? Is there a campaign?
Well, and that's... He hinted that there is a form of progression in the story.
Yeah.
And that made me curious as to what it might be, honestly, because my first impressions was that was the game. You go there, you pit against a DM, and yay, let's do it again. I didn't think there was going to be any form of cognitive story development, which he didn't really say there was, but he hinted that there might.
But yeah, and it's just, like, I know most of the recent Fable games haven't been brilliant, but I liked Fable 1, 2, and 3. I liked them all.
Mm-hmm. For their own different reasons.
They all had problems. Everyone knows that. I'm not saying that. But they were all good, I think.
In
Now-
my opinion, I have countless people that debate me on this, but I think it had one of the most fleshed out action RPG combat systems, personally. The Fable series.
I think the combat was really good. Yeah, I think it was pretty fleshed out. It did get a little basic towards the end.
Yeah, I can see
But
that.
I think they did well with the combat.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with Fable 1 was go strength or die.
I don't know. Because I did a playthrough of each, focusing on each one, and I did fine.
Alright, bloody hell, go you.
Go
gotta do
pee,
that.
it's sexy.
What? I was saying well done.
No, there was a hint of disgruntle in there.
No, there was not. I can't do it. If you can, then well done.
No, it was
You asshat.
done.
It was not. Viewers, comment, like and favourite and subscribe if you think I'm right. And then
go
to
visit
my
his channel.
Go to my channel if you think Decker's right.
I can't win.
No, you can't. I win all the time. But that's one thing I want to talk about with this news story is now that Peter Molyneux's gone to do his artsy fartsy retardo
Yes.
stuff, like the Cube.
Cube.
Oh, fuck off with the Cube.
I've never seen so much BS flow out of someone's mouth.
Yeah. But from what you've seen of Fable Legends, what you've heard of it, and I have signed up for the beta, very excited. Are you hopeful for the Fable franchise still?
Hopeful, yes.
Yeah.
Because
I want it to keep going.
well, and that's the thing is, even with Peter gone, it can advance. He
definitely.
tried to be the innovative force there, but
Really, what did he do other than hype it?
yeah, and that was the thing. He's an expert at overhyping something. Like there is
Why
no
do
one
people
better.
keep believing him?
There is no one better that can just say whatever the hell he wants and get people excited, and they fall for it every single time.
Yeah.
But, and yes, like you said, there is so much wrong intertwining in all of the Fables, but I did genuinely enjoy an aspect of each one of them. And, well, I never did. What was that Connect one that came out?
I don't remember.
Fable
but that is the one
Adventures, we'll just call it.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's like reported as the worst one. And
Yeah,
then there's like Fable Puppet, the Fable Puppets thing. I think it was called Fable Heroes.
Yeah, I never touched any of that. Fable 1,
But that's the difference.
Lost
Those are
Chapters
gimmick
2 and 3.
games. Those are gimmick games.
They
With the Connect one and the Puppets thingy one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a legit Fable game.
Yeah.
It's a different style, but if this does well, maybe we will see another Fable game. Maybe we will see a Fable 4.
Well, that's the
just be
thing.
like, we'll call it Fable 4, but it has nothing to do with the hero of Bowerstone.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, if this can succeed legitimately, that gives them an opportunity to give the Fable game to us that we've always wanted. And I want that game because, it's a good game.
Exactly, that's the thing. I would really like Peter Molyneux to go, if he really was the driving force behind all Fable games, I would like him to go to Kickstarter and say, okay. No, because everyone admits...
I know where you're going, but
everyone admits that the problems behind Peter Molyneux's games was he didn't have enough money and he didn't have enough time. Well, give him that.
Yeah.
Peter Molyneux would say, look, okay, I know I've lied to you in the past. I know I've never hyped, and I know I've always overhyped. I know I've never delivered on my promises. Well, this is my opportunity. I will tell you exactly how much money I need to do what I need to do. Give me the money and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Might take 5 years, but I'll do it. And that is what I want more than anything in the world.
Would you trust to kickstart him, though?
Yes.
You would.
And that's the thing. Why do people keep believing him? Why do I keep believing him? He is magic. He is a warlock. Peter Molyneux is a warlock.
Probably.
You've heard it here first, folks.
Yep, we guarantee it.
Right, so we haven't got long left in the show.
No,
so
we don't.
move
So
on
let us.
because-
I'm going to bump real quick to a game. No news, just more gameplay for Evolve, which is kind of akin to Fable Legends in that you are 4 players versing a DM of sorts. Which do you think you'll lean toward?
Oh, monster. All the time. All the time.
You want to be the Cthulhu roaming around?
Hell to the yes. That's the one thing I'm disappointed with, though, is I didn't want it to be loads of different individual monsters. I wanted it to be, you start off as one monster, depending on what you do, how you fight,
you can evolve
who
differently
you eat,
then.
what you eat, you evolve differently. That's what I wanted.
That would have been pretty
otherwise,
good.
Still monster all the time.
Now, are you going to be
and just-
the monster every time? Are you ever going to want to hunt? Or do you always want to be screwing with the 4 players?
I would quite happily hunt, is the thing. I would quite happily hunt. Quite happily. But if I had if someone said, the peanut butter or jam, I'd be like, put them together. But anyway, irrelevant. If someone said monster or hunter, I'd always pick monster. But if I had to play hunter, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
So
it also would probably depend on who I'm playing with.
Yeah. I think if you've got a good team as well, I'd very rarely want to be the monster solo play. I mean, the hunter solo play.
Yeah.
I'd always want to be the monster online.
Yep. Agreed.
Which is one of the problems why no one's ever going to find a game, because everyone will just be queuing as the monster.
I don't know. There's plenty of people because there'll be groups of people sitting down. All right, let's kill this son of a.
Yeah. Right. So there was not much else news to it really. There was just more gameplay. Sure.
It was just akin to Fable Legends. I wanted to throw it in there.
And again, another short news story is Walking Dead Season 3 by Telltale has been announced. Thoughts, Mr. Decker?
Thoughts is I need to catch up. That's my thoughts. I ended on Season 1.
I've just finished the most recently released episode of Season 2. And it was amazing. Had a bullshit cliffhanger ending, though. Don't like it. Not happy.
I know nothing about it. And don't spoil, you son of a...
I'm not going to, you butt.
You can do that on your YouTube channel.
Matman522. But it's the first game they've done that has been this successful. They did a Jurassic Park one that no one liked. I never played it. I actually want to play it now that I've played Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, which I play on my channel on No Let's Play. But it's done really well. It's been really successful. Would you be happy for them to do this sort of thing where they keep going, with a game like this? Like a Wolf Among Us Season 2. Apparently, Wolf Among Us ends. Like, it just ends. But with other ones, like the Borderlands one coming out.
Yeah.
Borderlands, if you do it right, could go on forever.
For the most part, it could.
So would you be okay? Like, it's episodic gaming taken to the umpteenth level of actual seasons.
Well, and therein lies the trick is it is based around storytelling.
Yes. They are very much story-based games. You could do this with a game like, I don't know, a Valve game that maybe, has a certain bearded dude with glasses in it.
Do I hear David coming? Anyway,
David the Bird.
My point is it's like seasons, akin it to something on TV. Mm-hmm. There's going to be good seasons and there's going to be bad. It's just how it is. If you can get to a point...
And there's going to be deterioration. Sorry.
There is, but and it gets to the point to where end it on the high note. Don't drag it out. That's my opinion with that form of storytelling in gaming is don't let it dry out. Don't let it deteriorate. Don't let it just fall apart because then you just have crap. But
Yep. So, again, short news story, but I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll play the shit out of it. And then final news story we've got is Final Fantasy Batman. It's a Batman. The wonderful Final Fantasy designer, as I quickly try and pull up his name and not... it's Tetsuya... Oh, yeah. Tetsuya Nomura designed a Batman Play Arts toy. And it is the most over-designed Batman anyone has ever seen, ever.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of... Oh, man, I don't know. A Gundam suit and a Final Fantasy boss. I don't know.
It's Gundam plus Final Fantasy plus Spawn and then maybe Batman.
Yeah, in the ears, maybe.
Basically the only thing is the cape in the ears. And everyone has a cape in Final Fantasy, so it doesn't matter.
Wow.
And that's the thing. I kind of don't like the fact that a lot of people are calling it a Final Fantasy Batman. Because it's not. It's a Final Fantasy 13 Batman. I don't remember enemies in Final Fantasy V, the best Final Fantasy, looking like this.
Wow, are you giving a shout out to Bart's here? Dang.
Final Fantasy V is the best Final Fantasy ever.
They had the best job system. I will hand them that.
Best game, best story, best everything. Deal with it, guys.
Final Fantasy V did not have the best Final Fantasy story.
It was awesome. I cried. It was amazing.
Oh, man.
Don't you dare ever say Final Fantasy V story was not good.
I just said it is not the best out of the Final Fantasy franchise.
Well, yeah, Final Fantasy IX is.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to say Final Fantasy VII, we might as well stop this show right now.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say 7. It's good, but not the best story.
I'll say something controversial. Final Fantasy VII was boring.
I personally
And the characters were uninteresting.
Okay, now that's where I'm going to have to hit the brakes. Because
They were freaking dull.
they were
and
unique.
stupid.
They were
No,
different.
They
weren't a bunch of effeminate dudes all looking exactly the same, acting exactly the same, doing the same crap over and over. They were unique.
In what Final Fantasy game is it a bunch of effeminate dudes all doing the same thing? Other than 10.
10. Aaron and Kamari are not effeminate.
But my point is, where are the effeminate men in Final Fantasy? Like, come on.
Oh, okay.
No,
No.
you've started this.
I'm trying to talk here, but you keep interrupting me, David.
I'm gonna get comfy. I'm gonna get fucking comfy. You're gonna tell me.
8.
I'm fucking comfy now. I've got pants
8. Can you contradict me there?
on. Who the fuck plays 8? Who liked 8?
Anyone who's played Final Fantasy.
Well, they're silly, because 8 was also dull and the characters were uninteresting. And the main character said mostly ...
Well, that's because he was emo.
Yeah, that's what made it shit.
12. You had Vaughn and Balthier.
No one played 12. It was Star Wars.
It was Star Wars. Granted, Fran played a better Chewbacca, but...
Final Fantasy V, best Final Fantasy. Just Final Fantasy V and 9 are the best Final Fantasies. Flat out. It's done. It's not up for discussion. Comment down below if it's up for discussion. Don't discuss it, just tell me if it's up for discussion.
And then, this isn't involved in story, but 11 and 14, 90% of the dudes you can create, they don't look like dudes.
Hi! But yeah, back onto the Final Fantasy designed Batman.
Batman.
A lot of people are really don't like it. They really, really hate it. They think I've heard it's an insult to Batman, and I just kind of think, no, it's just a different interpretation of Batman. I quite like it. I think it actually does look pretty cool. It
doesn't make me think of Batman, but
exactly, it's not exactly what we'd all think of as Batman. Like when you think of Batman, you think of the classic cape and cowl. But actually, funnily enough, it's not a cowl. Like, I looked up the definition of a cowl, it's not a cowl.
No.
But anyway, that's completely irrelevant. But I do like it. I could quite easily see this in a sort of alternate universe comic book.
Well, and that's the thing with DC. There are so many different alternate universe timelines in their story that anything could happen at any time with any character, no matter what.
Well, yeah, Vampire Batman. Batman versus Dracula. I have that comic. It's good.
But that's the point, is they are open to do whatever if they were to use it. I don't think there is plans to use this, other than the fact it's a toy. But
someone will write a comic about it.
They might.
But, you know, I mean, I think people are taking it a little too seriously, and people are getting a little too upset about it, because a lot of people are calling it, over-designed.
Yeah.
And they're saying, like Jim Sterling, for example, and I love Jim Sterling, but he said, I think, to paraphrase the quote on Twitter, the Tetsuya Batman is a prime example of the problem of over-designing in Final Fantasy in general. And I think, I guess, I mean, I think that's taking it a bit too over the top. I mean, yeah, it is kind of a bit over-designed, but, I mean, you know, he went with a concept and ran with it. Gundam Batman.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, like you said, people are probably taking it too seriously because, I mean, at the end of the day, who really cares about a toy designed based on Batman by someone else?
And that's the thing. Here, we'll settle the news story with this question. Deco, would you buy it? If you could afford it, would you buy it?
I might.
I would. I'd happily display this thing on my shelf. This thing's massive and it's cool. I like it.
Yeah. We might put a link or something in there so the viewers can see what we're talking about so they don't have to just randomly look for it.
Well, just Google Tetsuya Batman or just Final Fantasy Batman. You will find it.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, and I'm a huge Batman.
Oh, yeah.
I was raised on Batman. And no, I don't think it's an insult to Batman. No, I don't think it's an insult to Final Fantasy. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Go on DeviantArt, Google, search Batman, you will find all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's someone else's interpretation of Batman. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, if he was trying to go in there and change the core of who Batman was by creating, that's not what this is. This is a dude designing a toy.
Yeah, if the dude said this is what Batman should look like, there would be a problem. But it's not. This is him just going, this is what I think Batman could look like, and I think it's kind of cool. It's my style of Batman. No problem with that. Yeah. Well done, sir. You've created a pretty cool looking toy.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say on it, really.
Not really, no. I mean, that's that. So,
we've reached our limit of 1 hour and a half 1.5 hours, which is our usual limit. I mean, we're going to wrap up as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do, after the news, is our lovely question of the show.
Indeed it is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can comment down below with your answer to the question of the show. And then we will, when we start getting enough of them, we'll probably start reading them out in the next show.
Yeah, I could see that.
For funsies. And discussing your answers. We don't know.
Because these are important questions.
Actually,
especially this one.
I will explain for the new people.
Okay.
The question of the show is a very random question that Decker comes up with for every show. This is Decker's part of the show, and it will always be Decker's.
It makes me feel special.
It makes Decker feel special. So, Decker.
So.
Ask away.
Matt, out of the following, if you had to smell like 1 scent permanently for the rest of your life, what would it be? Bacon, wet dog, or baby powder? And why?
I'm going to go with baby powder.
Baby powder.
Because baby powder just smells like lavender most of the time, or flowers. And I'd rather smell like flowers than bacon because dogs would eat me if I smelled like bacon, and if I smelled like wet dog, dogs would hump me. So
you would like that.
I would not.
You would too.
I wouldn't say no, but I wouldn't like it. Baby powder. Because it smells like flowers.
I would probably have to concur with that because if I smelled like bacon, I'd want to eat myself. And if I smelled like wet dog, I would hate myself. So, there you have it.
Well, that's the thing. It depends on what dog as well. If it's just like a dog that's just had a bucket of water thrown on it, it won't smell that bad.
Dude, I can always smell it. I hate the smell of wet dog.
Well, because they roll around in shit, man.
Yeah, I know. That's my point.
Oh, we missed a news story.
We did.
Neverwinter coming to Xbox. Well, sorry, guys. We're not going to report on it now. Nope. Done. Well, that was the question of the show. And I guess it's time for outros.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for watching or listening. It's really cool. I really do love doing this podcast. I will probably say that every show, but I really do enjoy it. Thank you so much. The 400 plus people that watched the first episode, you are really awesome people. Thank you very much for watching.
You're pretty much the only people that matter in the world.
Exactly. You're the only people that matter to me. I've been Matthew Dixon, and I really do enjoy doing this.
Yeah, and I have been JT Decker, and so do I.
There you go. We will see you in the next episode in 4 weeks.
Something
Other than that, remember, always be an essential character. That way, if you get hit by a car, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
This is Viridian, and you're watching the 3D NPC Podcast Network. You may recognize my voice from my previous work, How to Subscribe to a Podcast. It's real easy. You just press a button. If you like the podcast, then congratulations, you have an excellent taste. Press the subscribe button to confirm. I hope you enjoy the podcast. If you didn't, it's likely you just need to turn the volume higher. Click on any of the boxes to watch another video. Go on, don't be shy. I'll wait here while you click them.